nothing to lose. I was hurt at the time, but I had overlooked the dreadful fear that this slavery to the dopamine surge instills in the addict. I now realize that many porn masturbation orgasmers don't finish the book because they feel that they have to give up something that is their pleasure and crutch when they quit. Some deliberately read only one line a day in order to postpone the evil day. Look at it this way. What have you got to lose? If you don't stop at the end of the book, you are no worse off than you are now. You have absolutely nothing to lose and so much to gain, and so much more to avoid. A Pascal's wager? A Pascal's wager is a bet you take when you have nothing or less to lose, for a higher chances of large gains and avoiding losses in the future. Incidentally, if you have not porn masturbation orgasmed for a few days or weeks, but are not sure whether you are a porn masturbation orgasmer, an ex-porn masturbation orgasmer, or a non-porn masturbation orgasmer, then don't use porn to masturbate while you read. In fact, you are already a non-porn masturbation orgasmer. All we've now got to do is to let your brain catch up with your body. By the end of the book, you'll be a happy non-porn masturbation orgasmer. Basically, this method is the complete opposite of the normal method of trying to stop. The normal method is to list the considerable disadvantages of porn masturbation orgasm and say, if only I can go long enough without porn, eventually the desire to masturbate to porn will go. I can then enjoy life again, free of the slavery to the tube. This is the logical way to go about it. And thousands of porn masturbation orgasmers are stopping every day using variations of this method. However, it is very difficult to succeed using this method for the following reasons. 1. Stopping porn masturbation orgasm is not the real problem. Every time you finish your deed, you stop porn masturbation orgasm. You may have powerful reasons on day 1 of your once in 4 days porn diet to say, I do not want to porn masturbate orgasm, or even masturbate anymore. All porn masturbation orgasmers have every day of their lives, and the reasons are more powerful than you can possibly imagine. The real problem is day 2, day 10, or day 10,000, when in a weak moment, an inebriated moment, or even a strong moment, you have one look, and because it is partly akin to drug addiction, you then want another, and suddenly you are a porn masturbation orgasmer again. 2. The health scares should stop us. Our rational minds say, stop doing it, you are a fool. But in fact, they make it harder. We porn masturbation orgasm, for example, when we are nervous. Tell porn masturbation orgasmers that it is destroying their virility, and the first thing they will do is to find something to spike their dopamine. A cigarette, alcohol, or even fire up the browser and search for porn. 3. All reasons for stopping actually make it harder for 2 other reasons. First, they create a SOS, sense of sacrifice. We are always being forced to give up our little friend or prop or vice or pleasure, whichever way the porn masturbation orgasmer sees it. Secondly, they create a blind. We do not masturbate for the reasons we should stop. The real question is, why do we want or need to do it? The easy peasy method. The easy peasy method is basically this. Initially, to forget the reasons we'd like to stop, to face the problem, and to ask ourselves the following questions. 1. What is it doing for me? 2. Do I actually enjoy it? 3. Do I really need to go through life using free internet porn or even paying through the nose just to sabotage my mind and body? The beautiful truth is that porn, streaming, static, or whatever, does absolutely nothing for you at all. Let me make it quite clear. I do not mean that the disadvantages of being a porn masturbation orgasmer outweigh the advantages. All porn masturbation orgasmers know from the many published studies about high-speed internet porn addiction, forum messages, blog articles in YBOP, and similar sites. I mean, there is not a single advantage from internet porn. The only advantage it ever had was the educational aspect. And guess what? Nowadays, the kind of education that it is offering is highly disputable for their contribution to real-life intimacy. Most porn masturbation orgasmers find it necessary to rationalize why they porn masturbate orgasm. But the reasons they come up with are all fallacies and illusions. The first thing we are going to do is to remove these fallacies and illusions. In fact, you will realize that there is nothing to give up. Not only is there nothing to give up, but there are marvelous positive gains from being a non-porn masturbation orgasmer, and well-being and happiness are only two of these gains. Once the illusion that life will never be quite as enjoyable without porn is removed, once you realized that not only is life just as enjoyable without it, but infinitely more so, once the feelings of being deprived of or missing out on are eradicated, then we can go back to reconsider the health and happiness and the dozens of other reasons for stopping. These realizations will become positive additional aids to help you achieve what you really desire to enjoy, the whole of your life free from the slavery of the porn habit. Why is it difficult to stop? As I explained earlier, I got interested in this subject because of my own addiction. When I finally stopped, it was like magic. When I had previously tried to stop, there was weeks of black depression. There would be odd days when I was comparatively cheerful, but the next day back with the depression. It was like clawing your way out of a slippery pit. You feel you are near the top, you see the sunshine, and then you find yourself sliding down again. Eventually you open your browser, and as you masturbate you feel awful, and you try to work out why you have to do it. Questions. One of the questions I always ask is, do you want to stop porn masturbation orgasm? In a way, it is a stupid question. All users, including members who dispute total abstinence, would love to stop porn masturbation orgasm. If you ask the most confirmed porn masturbation orgasmer, if you could go back to the time before you became hooked, with the knowledge you have now, would you have started porn masturbation orgasm? No way, would be the reply. Ask the confirmed porn masturbation orgasmer, someone who defends internet porn and who doesn't think that it causes injury to the brain, porn-induced erectile dysfunction, hyperfrontality, or the decreases in the dopamine receptors, and etc. Do you encourage your children to use porn masturbation orgasm? No way, will be the reply. All porn masturbation orgasmers feel that something evil has gotten possession of them. In the early days, it is a question of, I'm going to stop, not today, but tomorrow. Eventually, we get to the stage where we think either that we haven't got the willpower, or that there is something inherent in porn and porn masturbation orgasm that we must have in order to enjoy life. Why is it difficult to stop? As I said previously, the problem is not explaining why it is easy to stop. It is explaining why it is difficult. In fact, the real problem is explaining scientifically why anybody does it even after receiving the insights on the neurochemical damages. Of all addictions, not just limited to porn. The whole business of porn is an extraordinary enigma. One of the reasons we get onto it is because of the thousands of people already into it, about 35% of the population approximately. Yet every one of them wishes he or she had not started in the first place, telling us that life is like driving in second gear. We cannot quite believe that they are not enjoying it. We associate it with liberty or freedom or self-education and work hard to become hooked ourselves. We then spend the rest of our lives telling others not to do it and trying to kick the habit ourselves. We also spend the rest of our lives feeling hopeless and miserable. Time spent on porn can accumulate to a large percentage of our life in this planet. What do we do with that amount of time spent? We educate ourselves with supranormal material that would ensure to make us stupidly prefer and childishly long for these cold images, even when warm, real ones are available. By constant surge and drop of dopamine-induced porn masturbation orgasm, we sentence ourselves to a lifetime of irritability, anger, frustration, stress, fatigue, porn-induced erectile dysfunction, hypofrontality, etc. In short, it is a lifetime of slavery. It is logically and intuitively clear that amative sex, or touch, feel, voice, etc., is the best part of sex, and even better, if careza is practiced, but not necessary for the current purposes, than the propagative, orgasm, part, except when children are desired. So when we use porn in the absence of the best part, we feel miserable and guilty. In fact, all the reading about internet porn's addictive capabilities and its destructive effects here and in other online sites makes us even more nervous and hopeless. When we are trying to cut down or stop, we end up feeling deprived. We wish we didn't have to. What sort of hobby is it that when you are doing it, you wish you weren't, and when you are not doing it, you crave for it? A lifetime of an otherwise intelligent, rational human being going through life in contempt. Driving in second gear. The porn masturbation orgasmer despises himself every time he has an unreliable erection, a fading penetration, reading about porn-induced erectile dysfunction and other stuff on the YBOP forum. Every time he could not pull himself up to exercise after a daytime porn masturbation orgasm, every porn masturbation orgasm behind his or hers trustfully asleep partner's back. Every time he sees his tired face and lifeless eyes on the restroom mirror. Having to go through life with these awful black shadows at the back of his mind, what does he get out of it? Absolutely nothing. Pleasure, enjoyment, relaxation, a prop, a boost, all illusions, unless you consider the wearing of tight shoes to enjoy the removal of them as some sort of pleasure. Supranormal, a phrase coined by Nikolaus Tinbergen. Studies show that our brains prefer brighter, larger, colorful, etc. versions of what we like. Careza is the practice of amative sex that puts no pressure on orgasms, as in propagative sex. It relieves the man and woman from performance-based anxieties. When dopamine receptors are deactivated in response to frequent and extended dopamine surges, even normal distressing chemicals are not absorbed by our brains. The real problem is trying to explain not only why porn masturbation orgasmers find it difficult to stop, but why anybody does it at all after knowing about brain neuroplasticity. You are probably saying, "That's all very well. I know this, but once you are hooked on these things, it is very difficult to stop." But why is it so difficult? And why do we have to do it? Addicts of porn masturbation orgasm search for the answers to these questions all of their lives. Some say it is because of fear of the powerful and painful withdrawal symptoms. In fact, the actual withdrawal symptoms from porn are so mild that porn masturbation orgasmers should know about smokers who have lived and died without ever realizing they are drug addicts. Some say internet porn is free, and hence humankind should claim this biological bonanza. It is not. It is addictive, and acts like any other drug. Ask a porn masturbation orgasmer who swears that he only enjoys safe Playboy-type erotica, and that he could always restrict himself only to this soft genre. If he is absolutely honest, He would tell you about the many times when he had unwittingly crossed the line. Otherwise, good porn masturbation orgasmers would rather use unsafe, hardcore stuff, rationalizing it, than left with nothing at all. Enjoyment has nothing to do with it. I enjoy lobster, but I never got to the stage where I had to have lobsters every day, and multiple times, like they are hanging around my neck. With other things in life, we enjoy them whilst we are doing them, but we don't sit feeling deprived when we are not. Some search for deep psychological reasons, the Freudian Syndrome, the child at the mother's breast. Really, it is just the reverse. Restaurant versus home food. The usual reason why we start porn masturbation orgasm is to show we are grown up and mature. Some think it is the reverse. The macho effect of doing what boys do, or in some cases, let me show I am a tomboy girl, to rattle my conservative family. Again, this argument has no substance. Internet porn provides easy escalation, outrageous and shocking clips just a click away. Desensitization, same clips don't do it anymore. And all this within the high-reward, no-risk settings. The science fiction storylines, the fake amateurs, the real-life clips, etc., should make any average porn masturbation orgasmer discover pretty soon that it is all an illusion. What a porn masturbation orgasmer should also understand, that after eating at restaurants every day, the home food will never appeal your taste buds at all. Yes, the food is free and is tasty, but does it nourish you? Some say it is educational. So when is your graduation? It is a sexual satisfaction. So why do it alone? Find a partner and save it for her or him. It is the feeling of release, a release from the stresses of real life. Porn is going to remove the cause of the stress? Okay, good luck. You just added more to it. Porn masturbation orgasm causes more boredom. Many believe porn masturbation orgasm relieves boredom. This is also a fallacy. Boredom is a frame of mind. Porn will induce you to novelty seeking in no time, causing you to be eventually more bored unless and until you participate in the wild goose chase, all night long for the right hit producing clip. There is nothing interesting about supernormal stimulus, such as internet porn. It fires up dopamine, whose only job is to seek clips that evoke strong emotions, interesting novelty, and outrageous shock value. Excuses as reasons. For 30 years, my reason was that it relaxed me, gave me confidence and courage. I also knew it was draining me and costing me virility. Why didn't I go to a therapist and get an alternative to relax me and give me courage and confidence? I didn't go because I knew he would suggest an alternative. It wasn't my reason, it was my excuse. Some say they only do it because their friends and everyone they know do it. Are you really that stupid? If so, just pray that your friends do not start cutting their heads off to cure a headache. Most users who think about it eventually come to the conclusion that it is just a habit. This is not really an explanation, but having discounted all the usual rational explanations, it appears to be the only remaining excuse. Unfortunately, this explanation is equally illogical. Every day of our lives we change habits, and some of them are very enjoyable. We have been brainwashed to believe that porn masturbation orgasm is a habit, and that habits are difficult to break. Are habits difficult to break? In the U.S., we are in the habit of driving on the right side of the road. Yet when we drive in the U.K., we immediately break that habit with hardly any aggravation whatsoever. It is clearly a fallacy that habits are hard to break. The fact is that we make and break habits every day of our lives. So why do we find it difficult to break a habit that makes us deprived when we don't have it, guilty when we have it, and that we would love to break anyway, when all we have to do is stop doing it? Porn is addictive, and porn masturbation orgasm is addiction. The answer is that porn masturbation orgasm is not a habit. It is addiction. That is why it appears to be so difficult to give up. Perhaps you feel this explanation explains why it is difficult to give up. It does explain why most porn masturbation orgasmers find it difficult to give up. That is because they do not understand addiction. The main reason is that porn masturbation orgasmers are convinced that they get some genuine pleasure and or crutch from porn, and believe that they are making a genuine sacrifice if they quit. The beautiful truth is that once you understand porn addiction and the true reasons why you porn masturbate orgasm, you will stop doing it just like that. And within 3 weeks, the only mystery will be why you found it necessary to porn masturbate orgasm as long as you have, and why you cannot persuade other porn masturbation orgasmers how nice it is to be a non-porn masturbator orgasmer. The Sinister Trap. Internet porn is the most suitable sinister trap that man and nature have combined to devise. What gets us into it in the first place? The free samples from the professionals and the amateurs, celebrities and commons, who like to share. Some of us are even warned early that it's an awful and disgusting habit with short-term pleasures and long-term costs, but we cannot believe that they are not enjoying it. One of the many pathetic aspects of porn masturbation orgasm, after knowing its dangers, is how hard we have to work in order to become hooked. Questions. It is the only trap in nature which does not require a lot of hard work to set up. The thing that springs the trap is not that all porn clips feature young, high-quality, attractive models. It's that most of the thumbnails on any porn webpage are ugly-looking, unattractive, amateurish, homemade clips of unknown models. If the first-timer's first look at a tube page was only filled with angelic beauties, professional models, and high quality, then the alarm bells would ring. And as intelligent human beings, we could then understand why half the adult population was systematically addicted to watching something that is cutting down their very same potential to do what they are viewing. In many known and yet unknown ways, porn cuts down sexual performance and the feeling of satisfaction. But because that first peak has stains and holes, a mishmash of low-quality clips of not-so-hot models, our young minds are reassured that we will never become hooked, and we think that because we are not enjoying them, we can stop whenever we want to. It is the only drug in nature that prevents you from achieving your aim. Our curiosity brings us to its doorsteps. You dare not even click on all of the thumbnails, because some of them will make you feel sick and throw up. If you were to accidentally click one, "I did not see that" clip, all you want to do is get away from the site and close your laptop. With women, the aim is to be the sophisticated modern young lady. We have all seen them acting up and looking absolutely ridiculous. By the time the boys have learnt to look tough, and the girls have learnt to look sophisticated, they wish they had never started in the first place. I wonder whether women ever look sophisticated when they discuss the top 10 porn sites, or whether this is a figment of our imaginations created by internet porn companies. We then spend the rest of our lives trying to explain to ourselves why we do it, telling our children not to get caught, and at odd times trying to escape ourselves. The trap is so designed that we try to stop only when we have an incident that touches us to the quick of the flesh, whether it be in the bed, loss of a career, shortage of drive, or just plain being made to feel like a leper. As soon as we stop, we have more stress, the fearful withdrawal pangs of brain chemicals, and the thing that we rely on to relieve stress, our old prop, porn and porn masturbation orgasm, we now must do without. Internet porn is powerful imagery at high speed, making it a high fructose corn syrup. Sorry, high-density supernormal stimulant. After a few days of torture, we decide that we have picked the wrong time to quit. We must wait for a period without stress, and as soon as that arrives, the reason for stopping vanishes. Of course, that period will never arrive, because in the first place, we think that our lives tend to become more and more stressful. As we leave the protection of our parents, the natural process is jobs, setting up home, mortgages, babies, more responsible jobs, bigger house, more babies, etc., etc. This is also an illusion. The truth is that the most stressful periods for any creature are early childhood and adolescence. We tend to confuse responsibility with stress. A porn masturbation orgasmer's life, like a drug addict, automatically becomes more stressful because porn masturbation orgasm does not relax you or relieve stress, as some try to make you believe. Just the reverse. It actually causes you to become more nervous and stressed. Internet porn is as fake in its promises for pleasure and crutch as its actors are. If you had never learned any life skills to cope with the stresses and strains of a day-to-day life, you are not going to get any better with this fake and disgusting crutch. Worse, you are going to add more bales of straw on the old camel's back. Even those users who kick the habit, most do, one or more times during their lives, can lead perfectly happy lives, yet suddenly become hooked again. The whole business of porn masturbation orgasm is like wandering into a giant maze. As soon as we enter the maze, our minds become misted and clouded, and we spend the rest of our lives trying to escape. Many of us eventually do, only to find that we get trapped again at a later date. I spent 33 years trying to escape from that maze. Like all porn masturbation orgasmers, I couldn't understand it. However, due to a combination of unusual circumstances, none of which reflect any credit on me, I wanted to know why previously it had been so desperately difficult to stop, and yet when I finally did, it was not only easy, but enjoyable. Since stopping porn masturbation orgasm, my hobby has been to resolve the many conundrums associated with porn. It is a complex and fascinating puzzle, and, like the Rubik's Cube, practically impossible to solve. However, like all complicated puzzles, if you know the solution, it is easy. I have the solution to stopping porn easily. I will lead you out of the maze and ensure that you never wander into it again. All you have to do is follow the instructions. If you take a wrong turn, the rest of the instructions will be pointless. Let me emphasize that anybody can find it easy to stop, but first we need to establish the facts. No, I do not mean the scare facts. I know you are already aware of them. There is already enough information on the evils of porn masturbation orgasm. If that was going to stop you, you would already have stopped. I mean, why do we find it difficult to stop? In order to answer this question, we need to know the real reason why we are still doing porn masturbation orgasm.